We just have the mythical fruits left to master and awaken all the fruits. And following the order, the next fruit is going to be the TREX. We won't need to awaken it, and mastering it is going to be pretty easy because it has the click attack and also a transformation. So it's not going to be that hard for us to master it. Not to mention, we also get this really stylish tail. To take down the NPC, we just use the click attack and the first ability, which deals area damage and has a really good range. Our second ability, which requires 50 mastery, is a roar that pulls the enemy in and then throws them really far away. It's a really good ability, and it also hits in an area. In my opinion, the TREX and the Kitsune are some of the best non-Lovia fruits for leveling up. The attack using just the click is so fast that the enemy can't even hit us. So to take down boys, NPCs, or even players, it ends up being easier. In our third ability, we dash at the enemy with some claws. It's a really beautiful ability. I just realized that the longer you hold the second ability, the more damage you'll deal. What makes this fruit so strong is the click. I hardly use any abilities because the click is so strong. But now we've unlocked the second to last ability of our TREX fruit, and it's a movement ability, but I use it to deal damage. Because the movement doesn't go that far and deals almost 3000 damage. This is the maximum distance of the movement ability. For some reason, it's glitching. I just don't know what happened in this area. Let me change locations. But this here is the maximum distance of the movement. Dude, I'm doing a little jump. Something's going on. I'm going to test it one more time, and this time it's going to be in a different way. Now, we're talking. This is the maximum distance that the fruit can go. But for some reason, our fruit was glitching. It's not that great of a distance, but you can use it for movement, but mainly for attacking. By defeating these enemies, I'm going to unlock the last ability of our fruit, and it's the coolest ability because we're going to turn into a big dinosaur. Actually, it's not that big, but it's still really cool. Even when transformed, we can still use the click, which makes our fruit even stronger. The first ability, when we're transformed, works the same way. The only thing that changes is the range we can hit the enemy, and the damage also ends up increasing. Now, the second ability is still the same. We let out a roar and attack the enemy. In my opinion, they could have done something different. The third ability turned out really cool. We keep dashing, but this time we bite the enemy and slam them to the ground. This turned out really good. The only ability left is movement, and the distance has improved a bit, but mainly the height we can reach. But what really matters in movement is the damage it causes. If we hit just one enemy, we're gonna deal over 3000 damage, which is a lot for a movement ability. And Rex's fruit has an extra ability. When we hit the enemy, they get this effect above their head. And the farther away we are, the more damage he takes. So this is really good for PvP because you can break the observation hockey. And in my opinion, this is one of the best fruits and one of the prettiest fruits in Blox Fruits. Now that I've mastered the TREX fruit, next up in line is the mammoth fruit. And it's a good fruit too. And look at how we hold it when we're transformed. It floats. I accidentally ate the fruit, but that's okay because the goal here is to master it. And our first ability, when we use it, we create a mammoth ghost and attack the enemy with these 3 slashes that we unleash. It's a really beautiful ability, but the main thing is that it also deals area damage, and this is the most important part for us to take down the enemy. Our second skill, with 50 mastery, we transform again into a mammoth shadow, but this time we dash and hit the enemy. I just don't know if this ability hits in an area. Dashing with 2 enemies side by side, when we use the ability, it also hits in an area. And in the end, it's an ability that will also help you when you're paired up. Now, our third ability is also going to be unlocked, and it's going to be a really strong ability. At least, as far as I remember, it's supposed to be an interesting ability. And it's pretty much the same thing as the second ability. The only difference is that instead of throwing the NPC up, we're going to throw them down to the ground. But in the end, it all comes down to the same thing. And one thing the TREX has that the mammoth fruit doesn't is the click attack. And whether we like it or not, that makes a big difference, and it makes the TREX fruit worth a bit more. Just like the TREX, the second to last ability of our mammoth fruit is also a movement ability. The only difference is that we can go even further using this ability, and the longer we hold it, the farther we go. But that's not all, because if we use it as an attack, we can also deal damage. It deals 3252 damage, which, whether we like it or not, is a lot for a movement ability. Now, the only ability left is the transformation. The fact that the mammoth fruit doesn't have the click attack makes it even harder for us to master and reach 300 mastery, which is a lot, even if you're in a third world country. But in the end, when you're transformed, it's totally worth it, because the mammoth looks really cool. And the most important thing is, when we're transformed, we have the click attack. It's not as strong or as good as the TREX's, but it's still really good, and it really helps us take down the boss or the NPC. The first ability, when we use it, we unleash these 3 claws. and we unleash it twice in a row. And the distance this thing goes is insane, because when we use this, we can almost destroy that other tree. The second and third abilities are going to be pretty much the same, but this time, we're transformed and attacking the enemy. But for some reason, I ended up flying. Now the third ability is going to work the same way, but we're going to throw it down. If we make a giant jump when we hit the ground, we also deal damage to the enemy. But the most interesting and strongest ability of the mammoth is its movement, because we unleash a consecutive dash that keeps attacking the enemy non-stop. And even if it hits us, our attack won't get cancelled. This is one of the strongest abilities here in Blox Fruits. And let me know in the comments if you've already used and mastered the mammoth fruit. We still need 3 fruits in our inventory to master and awaken all the fruits. So to gather even more fruit, I'm going to test my luck to see which fruit we can get. Unfortunately, I only got a smoke, but I hope it ends up being useful for making a trade. And before getting a mythical fruit, I'm going to make a trade to get the blizzard fruit. This way, I can make a trade later to get a mythical fruit. Now with the blizzard, I can make a trade to swap a blizzard for a control, which is worth a lot more. And it was one of the fruits that was missing from our inventory. But now we still need 2 fruits, and one of those fruits is the most expensive of all. I spun fruits on several accounts, and these were all the fruits I ended up getting. But the most important of all, for sure, is the phoenix. With this fruit, we can get another mythical fruit, and I'm going to trade these 3 fruits for a Dougie. And as soon as we finish this trade, we'll only be missing 1 fruit to have all the fruits in our inventory. Not in our inventory, but I already ended up eating the fruits, and the fruits we still need to eat, we'll have in our inventory. But the fruit we're missing is the kitsune, and getting it is going to take a lot of work. Jumping the order of the fruits made me really want to master the spirit fruit. For some reason I can't even explain. But I'm going to end up eating it and mastering it to test its power. And we already start with these 2 spirits by our side. In the first ability of our fruit, when we use it, we hit the enemy and freeze them for a while. But that's not the only ability we start with. We have 2 more abilities, which would be the click. But it doesn't deal damage directly. We have 2 types of spirit. The spirit that's going to buff us, which would be the blue side. It can make us faster, to recover our health, or energy. Now with red spirit, we will be able to cause damage, or trap the enemy, which makes this fruit one of the best fruits for you to defeat boys, or players, in my opinion. The second skill we unlock is locomotion, and unfortunately we can't cause damage with this skill and locomotion. Isn't that fast? But if you want to go to a high place or simply move in a different way, it's a good skill. And to unlock the third ability, we need 150 mastery, which is a lot since we only have 1 ability that deals damage. Defeating Big Mom just once was enough for us to unlock our third ability, which, when we use it, lets us unleash fire. But it was the first time I saw this thing working in mid-air. But now, using this ability on the enemy, we set them on fire, if I can actually hit them. Because in that case, I ended up missing. But now I'm going to make sure to hit the enemy, and when we do, it deals over 4,000 damage. That's a lot for just 1 ability. I totally forgot to mention that the first ability of our fruit also hits in an area, so it's a good ability. But not just the first, the second ability also hits in an area. This really helps with leveling up. The only problem is that mastering this fruit is going to take a long time. After a lot of effort, I unlocked the second to last ability of our fruit, and using it, we unleash an ice power that freezes a huge area. But I still don't quite understand how this ability works. Testing the same ability again, we're going to freeze everything around us. Actually, we don't freeze. We just unleash a snow power that hits the enemy. The good thing about this attack is that it hits in an area, but I didn't like it much compared to the others. The best way to use this attack is to just click on the ability and let it do the rest. Because if you hold back, the enemy is going to be able to hit you and probably take you down. Out of all the fruits, the spirit fruit was the most complicated ability to unlock. We needed 350 mastery points, and it takes a long time to gather all that, but we finally did it, and I hope it was worth it. And when we use this ability on the enemy, we use both spirits, ice and fire, and it deals over 6,000 damage. Just remember, that was just 1 ability that caused all of that. So in the end, it really was worth it, but the effort I put in to unlock just 1 ability was a lot. I just don't know if this ability would work well to take down a boss or even another player, but it might help you defeat an NPC. I just don't know if this ability would work well to take down a boss, or even another player, but it might help you defeat an NPC.